Welcome everybody to episode number 56 of Gaming Culture Radio. I'm your host Tyler here with our entire team with our continuing coverage of E3 2017, covering one of the most anticipated conferences of every year, the Sony conference. And I'm here with our entire team, starting with Mike. Mike, how you doing today?
Not bad, man. Not bad. Just got done watching the Sony conference, That's why we're here, so.
It is. So, also joining us, Graham, staff writer for XboxCulture.net. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, sir. Like I said, we're pretty much through E3 weekend. We got one more. We got Nintendo, personally one of my favorites. Hopefully they learn from their past mistakes, and it's a great series. Or a great presentation.
Treehouse.
We'll see.
Whatever they call it.
Treehouse. Whatever you want to call it.
The Treehouse. The Sony Treehouse event.
We've literally been talking for like 10 hours so far this weekend.
I know.
So it's I'll forgive it. Also joining us, yes, the best words though. Staff writer for XboxCulture.net is Eugene. How you doing, sir?
Oh boy.
That's what I can say. I'm looking forward to the show, man. And editor for XboxCulture.net, Mike Solsa is joining us again. He was with us for the Microsoft conference yesterday. How you doing?
Yes, hello. How's it going? I'm very excited to be back here again as a guest commentator once again. Didn't think I was going to be back so quickly. So thanks for having me again.
We're happy to have you. And I'll add I'm a senior writer for XboxCulture.net. You can head to XboxCulture.net and PlayStationCulture.net for all the latest gaming news. Make sure you check that out if you ever need any info on the gaming world, especially right now during E3 week. Everybody's working hard there to get articles churned out and keep everybody up to date on what's going on in the biggest conference of the year. So you can also head over to our Facebook page for the podcast, Gaming Culture Radio Forums, and join there. We just hit 100 members, surpassed that. So congratulations to everybody in the community. Thank you so much. And by doing that, or by joining, you can ask questions to be submitted on the show. We'll talk about them later in this episode. And by doing that, you're entered for giveaways that we have every single month. And during E3 week, we're going to have them every single episode. So we'll be doing we're doing our biggest giveaways this episode right now tonight. So with that, let's head into the conference. And I first want to get into just initial impressions. And I don't want to get too deep into this, guys, because we're going to go round table again and talk about kind of the games that we want to talk about. But let's go. Eugene, you are probably the biggest PlayStation fan that we have on the show. Like, you play a lot of stuff on PlayStation. I have it as well, but I tend to play a little more on Xbox. I love both systems. You tend to play more on PlayStation. So what were your initial thoughts of the show tonight? Do you think they did enough?
So let me preface by saying, we talked about it earlier today. We've talked about it last Thursday on our E3 predictions. I was very excited about the show. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of high expectations. I had a lot of wild predictions. I was let down a little bit tonight. I am a little bit disappointed, and we'll go into more details later. But I saw a few things that I liked. I saw several things that I liked actually, and a few things I got excited about. But it was kind of up and down throughout. You see something great, and then kind of went down, and up again, then down again. But overall, I'm hopeful.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Graham, how about you?
Well, Eugene had some high expectations. Like I was saying before, kind of what they had to do, and pretty much everything I said what they had to do, they did none of it. But I think it was more of, if we don't mention it, nobody will bring it up, because they weren't ready to battle Microsoft for apparent reasons. They would have just lost if they tried to talk about 4K or stuff like that. So without me getting too deep in details, they probably played it smart, just because they probably would just add more backlash. But overall, they stuck to their same formula, announcing games, getting people excited, and having no solid dates. Left people, like the crowd, you could even tell that the crowd were underwhelmed, because most of it they knew was coming out. And they were expecting some release dates. They're like, okay, well, I know this is coming out, but now it's time for release date. And they got nothing. So the overall vibe wasn't that great. But they did show some great games. Like God of War looked stunning. with a lot lengthier of trailer and few other favorites. Other ones I'll talk to when we do our little round table. But yeah, overall it was kind of disappointing. But what do you guys think?
So, Mike Sosa, what did you think, sir?
Okay, so really fast, I do have to mention right off the bat, of course, that as we established earlier, I am the editor on Xbox Culture. However, I am not going to be approaching this just because of, I'm from Xbox, so I have a bias almost immediately. That, last time I was here, I did say that I'm not Team Xbox, I'm not Team Sony, I'm Team Gamer.
Right.
That when something fancy happens at E3, everybody wins. And as such, I do want to make sure to, reiterate that before I get torn apart here in a moment.
Sure.
But mainly what it is that whenever I look at the Sony conferences, I always look at it from a very specific standpoint. And I'm sure we'll get into this later on, of course. But I kind of feel like that in regards of how Sony has done their conferences in the past, it really did feel like a rinse and repeat here in some really weird way. It's just that this time around, a lot more people are just taking notice to the pattern that Sony usually does, especially with how short that this conference was in comparison to the other ones that they've done in the past.
Totally short, very short.
Yeah.
Okay. Mike,
right. We'll get more into the details here, though, and what I really like and stuff in which I do have to raise questions about. But yeah, we'll get to that here in a moment.
All right, Mike, what'd you think?
Objectively, I did not think it was all that hot. I was looking for a reason to go buy a PlayStation. I mean, we got two around here and everything, but I was looking for a reason to go buy my own PlayStation, and I really didn't see one. I really liked the Spider-Man footage. Really did. Thought it was fresh. Thought it looked like it was a lot of fun. It just there wasn't much there.
Yeah. So I'll say I'm disappointed for the fans that really love Sony, and I like Sony too, and I have actually two PlayStations. It's ridiculous, but I do. But I have a original release model and the Pro, and I'm just disappointed because yes, they've had a great release lineup so far this year, but none of the huge titles they talked about are coming out this year, and we didn't get definitive release dates on anything. We got Windows, so I'm disappointed for the fans.
Not on all games either.
Yeah, and not on every game. We got Windows on some games. I'm disappointed for the fans out there that get so excited for this every year. And we'll get into it as we go. And they showed some great stuff, no doubt about it. But I'm disappointed for the Sony fans out there that get really excited for this every year. So that's me. Let's go into a roundtable. So we're going to talk each about one thing that really stood out to us from the show. And Mike, I want to start with you. So go ahead, sir. What do you have?
I really, really, really like this Detroit game. Last E3, we got the beginning of it. How this all sort of kind of came about, and how all these decisions impact this game, which I really, really, really like, because that means there's going to be a lot of replayability to it. One go around obviously is not going to be enough, because this kind of game with everything being so whatever you do changes the world so much, there's got to be alternate endings. So that right there turns me on, because a game like this seems like, with the story that's so intricate and so, what's the word I'm looking for here? Different. I can't think of the word, but anyways,
unique.
It just unique. Yeah. There you go. You think that they would, like I said, that they would have all this extra endings, kind of like Late Shift. I like the fact that you have this protagonist, has a excuse me for a second.
A protagonist that is an android.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but you notice also he doesn't have the little thing on the side too that shows that he is an android.
Yeah.
So and it's good to say this time around it is a new protagonist as well. It's not the same. We did get a glimpse of the guy from the last one. Right. This go around they focused on, I think his name was Marcus. Is that what it was? Yeah. So they focused on a different protagonist, maybe a different viewpoint. Like you said.
Yeah. Yeah. So this one interests me a lot. In this
Cool.
one, if I would definitely throw down the day one.
Awesome. What do the rest of you guys think about it?
So I love Quantic
Eugene?
Dream.
Yep.
I love Quantic Dream. I played Heavy Rain. I played a little bit Beyond Two Souls, and Quantic Dream. If you've never played one of their games before, they have they're focused on cinematic gameplay, and I got that from the last trailer from the last E3. Once again, this was shown at last E3. It was debuted, and it was very impressive. They threw down different decisions, and if you've never played Quantic Dream before, they do have multiple endings. They have multiple endings that are very diverse. They're completely different from each other. They didn't throw as many decisions this time around. I think I saw 2 decisions come up. I think there's one X and O button press, and then there's one at the end where he's holding the gun. So obviously, like, you can either kill this guy, save this guy, or something, but we don't know who this other guy is. But what it comes down to is I saw a lot of different things where it didn't feel like it was just strictly cinematic driven. That maybe there's a little bit more to where you can run around the city, jump around on buildings, that you have a little bit more traversal. Did you guys get that feel at all from it?
I did a little bit. This is a game that intrigued me a lot last year, and I wanted to see more and more and more on it, and we just haven't seen anything really for the last year. So excited we got to see more this year. The story turns out to be something totally different than what I thought it was going to be, which is cool because I'm fine with that. It turns out to be a lot bigger scope and scale than what I thought.
Yeah. You know what? Sorry to interrupt you, Ty, but you know what? It seemed like the first one was sort of like going to turn into like an enemy of the state sort of game, you know? So.
Yeah, kind of. For me, it kind of looked like a detective story where you're like making decisions along the way and things can turn out differently, you know, things like, you know, that type of thing. But this turns out to be so much bigger in scale than that. This is a game we talked about on our pre-show that I really wanted to see. We did get to see more, which is awesome, and really happy about that. But I wish we'd gotten some sort of an idea of when we're going to get to play it.
Not even a year. We didn't.
Not
get
even
a year.
a year.
Yeah.
No.
Not
No,
even
early-
There was no release date that was
early,
shown
late.
at the end of it.
No. I think everyone was waiting.
Like
on
it seems
too,
like because it's so like decision based and there's so many different routes and like outcomes can be so different that this game is just such a monster that wow, I can't believe I just use that term, but yeah, such a monster that it's just going to take a long time to get it right, I guess. I'm guessing that's why they gave no release date, because it's far from being ready.
I guess.
Although
but-
when we watched the trailer, it actually looked fairly ready.
Yeah.
And that was what was
There's
surprising
a lot of
about it.
cinematics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can kind of tell from trailers, like for example, last time when we saw the Evil Within 2 and the Wolfenstein trailers, you could tell like those were deep trailers, and that game's probably coming this year, and we were right on both. But I kind of got that same vibe from this one, but no date at all, not even a year, which was really surprising to me and disappointing, to be honest. But yeah, anybody else on this game?
That's about it for
Well,
me.
and the thing too about no year, because some of them we have years and it says fall 2018. So does that mean it's not even going to be like that early? It's going to be like 2019 we're looking at, or what? Or they just don't know.
Think being Quantic Dream, I think it's a good possibility because they do tend to take their time with games, and you know, I can't even think of the name right now. Heavy Rain really stood out a lot more than Beyond Two Souls, and both of those had huge windows of time, and I even think they're delayed even. So I don't know if Sony was staying away from definitive release windows, because it didn't even, none of the games even said like fall. They would say early or late, which early to me means 6 to 8 months, into the year.
Yeah.
So I think kind of like Graham, what you were saying earlier is Sony was playing very careful that they're kind of bowing out, that they don't want to fight it, because that was the expectation for all their games, was that, hey, we're going to get definitive release dates, but not even a year on Detroit.
Yeah.
All
You
right.
said 6, and I don't think you got your 6, Eugene.
Yeah. I don't think we got 6 release dates.
I don't know if you got
exclusive
your
games.
3, Tyler.
I don't even know if I got
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah.
and I was sending
The
them
only
are
one
low,
you
man.
might be able to say is maybe the Call of Duty, but even then, that's kind of hard
Call
to
of
say.
Duty, Destiny, it's third party games.
But those are
Release
third
dates.
party, right?
Yeah.
As for first party, though, really hard to try to figure out that one. That's for sure.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like even Days Gone, like that had no release date,
Mm.
and that one looked pretty close to being ready. So basically, it seems like next E3 we're gonna see these same games again, and we probably won't get a date, or if we do, it's gonna be fall of the following year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, very well could
they
be.
just
And
gotta,
I'm guessing
they
next
just
year
gotta
we'll see.
stop this.
Yeah, next year we'll see the return of Death Stranding and Last of Us
Yeah,
2.
Last of Us.
Yep.
Now
With-
we'll talk about a few games and,
Yeah.
and then I'll bring some rebuttals to the table. But
Sure.
let's talk about a few more games.
Yeah. So, all right,
Yeah.
who's up next? Mike Solson, go ahead, sir. What topic do you want to talk about? Which game?
Okay, well, the game I want to go ahead and cover is one that I admit I did not see coming by a mile because back earlier this week it was being rumored that this thing was going to happen of a game that has been not seen on the PlayStation consoles at all for the longest time, but it was just going to happen just out of the blue because for some reason or another, Sony was able to convince Capcom to go ahead and make something exclusive away from Nintendo, which makes no absolute sense. But then all of a sudden, here we go with Monster Hunter World, and honestly, I was really excited about Monster Hunter World. That legit did get me excited quite a bit, actually, because I actually wrote the story on Xbox Culture. I'll explain why here in a moment, of course, but I did take notice to so many things that was done in the trailer that really does look like they are expanding out the gameplay of Monster Hunter itself. Because, you see that there's stealth mechanics. You see that there's swimming mechanics again. You can tell that, the monster that you see, the Devil Joe-like monster with wings and a horn, it's actually giving chase to you. And it seems like that this could actually be the first possible open-world Monster Hunter game we may see here. That there were so many things that were done here that it just left me so excited. And I got even more excited to find out from Monster Hunter's Twitter that this is also coming out on Xbox One and PC early 2018.
Wow.
That's insane.
You
when
were
was the
so
last-
close on that one, Sony.
When was the last time we saw a Monster Hunter game other than Nintendo? It's been a while.
Yeah.
I think
it has.
PlayStation
Yeah.
2. PlayStation 2 was the last that I remember. Was there one on PS3? I really don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. I think
Always on
PlayStation
3DS,
2,
3DS and Wii, Wii U
Yeah.
were the last few Monster Hunter. So I was very surprised to see it. I thought they had kind of abandoned, the other consoles that they're focusing on, Nintendo.
Yeah, honestly, that I was kind of in the camp of how, because we're still waiting to see if Monster Hunter Double Cross is actually going to get confirmed for the West tomorrow or not. And I'm still in the camp of still hoping that that's going to happen because I definitely want to take my Monster Hunter.
I
go.
think it will tomorrow. I think
Yeah,
there's a
no,
good
yeah,
possibility.
I'm betting on that hopefully. But with that said, though, in regards of Monster Hunter World, that I saw this and I was thinking that, oh, okay, well, this is what they're going to go and call Monster Hunter Double Cross for the West, and I was right for that. And then seeing people saying that, oh, no, this is it. Monster Hunter is coming back to Sony, and it's like, that's a nice thought, but I doubt that's going to happen. And I'm glad I'm being proven wrong, of course, but then at the same time to find out that they're going to go not just with Sony, but they're also going to go multi-platform. Give Xbox owners the chance to actually experience Monster Hunter for the first time.
Yeah.
And also, basically, now with going with PC, Capcom just literally declared war on Dauntless. Or Dauntless. I'm saying that right? Dauntless? But, yeah, honestly, though, that's kind of the funny thing about this whole situation. Because this is literally, if I had to pick one game that really excited me, yeah, it was definitely Monster Hunter World, but it excited me for all the wrong reasons that are literally not Sony based. And that's what kills me here.
So I will bet you that tomorrow on the Xbox Daily Show, we see Monster Hunter on there.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
Monster Hunter Monster Hunter on Xbox One X. If I see that, then I will literally have an excuse now to actually look at the Monster Hunter or getting an Xbox One X. Last time I was on, I was kind of on the bar or, kind of back and forth on it. Monster Hunter World will actually be the game that could actually win me over. So
wow.
yeah, I'm really excited about this. But again, unfortunately, in regards of the Sony conference, it's unfortunately for all the wrong reasons, and
Yeah.
I'm laughing
I mean-
about it because I'm kind of ashamed that I'm bringing it up in that sense right now, and I don't mean to do it like that, but this is
Yeah,
really big
I'm-
in terms of Monster Hunter.
I will say
Yeah.
that like it wasn't graphically impressive.
It never is.
Yeah, I mean it isn't. So for those of you guys that don't know Monster Hunter, it's one of the biggest franchises in Japan because it is a grindy game. It's a game where you collect bounties and you go after and chase these monsters. But it's been most popular on the 3DS because it's a portable game. You can take them on a train with you and just grind out and go after bounties. So I think you're right with the world aspect that this is going to be a multiplayer game where you can get together. And that's why I think there's going to be a different Monster Hunter on the Switch because it's going to focus more on portability and focus more on single player rather than, getting out on a home console and playing online with a whole group of people.
Yeah, and honestly, not to take this too far off subject, but I would not be surprised to find out that if there is going to be a Monster Hunter 5, it is going to be on Switch because they do want to go ahead and make it constant, if you will, while this is literally could be seen as a spin-off just like Monster Hunter Generations. So
Yeah, let's bring it to
definitely
Switch.
though that
I agree.
I am, definitely going to be watching the Nintendo conference tomorrow for a variety of reasons. But in regards of right now, that's, for people who wanted that next-gen Monster Hunter game, that we are getting it, but we're just getting it in the way that we didn't think we were going to get it.
Yeah,
Because of
it's
how
huge.
ludicrous all the cards just fell right in place here. And I'm so excited to see what's going to happen here now. So definitely, and early 2018, that we didn't even have to wait for the Tokyo Game Show for this. That's what makes it even bigger, that this is I think the first official Monster Hunter game that has been announced in the West before it was actually announced in Japan. So that's as big as it gets.
They're going
for that.
after Western gamers is what they're doing.
No, and I'm glad that they are. We deserve we deserve as much praise as they do over there. And I'm glad that we're getting games that are Japan exclusive, that we're finally getting it here now so that we get to enjoy now.
Yep, for sure.
Yep. There was one funny.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
There was one funny thing I did see in the Monster Hunter video, is I don't know if you guys noticed, but somebody said something about swimming. Dude's got 200-300 pounds of armor on, got this big ass gigantic sword that's got 200 pounds on it easy, and just jumps in the water and just swims like a fish, owns it like a boss. I'm like, how the hell did you just not sink like an anchor?
Play Monster Hunter.
he's also
play Monster Hunter 3. You'll find out.
He's also fighting a
He's
dinosaur.
jumping and
too,
rolling
on his own.
around, and the big spikes sticking out on the sword on his back.
And he also single-handedly takes down a dinosaur. So, you got to suspend disbelief at some point, I guess.
No, it is a suspension of disbelief, but it's it just makes you feel like a badass when you're hunting down these giant monsters much bigger than you. And you do learn because, you do go ahead and learn the monsters, how they fight, and so on and so forth. But again, though, I'm pretty sure that all bases got covered on Monster Hunter. So, yeah, definitely, if I had to pick my game, the E3, I'm going to have to be a bit biased and just point towards Monster Hunter World. It wins hands down.
Cool.
Wow, out of all E3, that's yours. Wow.
At least for the time being right now, that's, early impressions, Monster Hunter World immediately takes it.
All right,
You
that's
obviously didn't see Just Dance get announced today, so I'm going to forgive you for that.
Unfortunately, I was stuck at work, so I still need to watch it. All I know is that Ubisoft literally knocked it out of the park, and people are freaking out because they have to say that Ubisoft won E3.
I don't think they won, but they had a good conference.
I don't
They
know.
had a good
Some people,
conference.
that's what they're
That's
saying
bold.
right now.
So the problem is Ubisoft set the bar so low in previous years that all they had to do is use their words and not be stupid, and everybody would say they win.
Use their words, keep this caffeine out, keep out, what's her name? Focus on the games.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and they did all that, and the games were good. I still don't think they
and I'm
won.
sure you
but the
talked
games were
about
good.
this earlier already on another episode, on the prior episodes of this, so I don't want to, like I said, I feel like I'm already kind of derailing the talk here on Sony right now, so, definitely that if we want to go to move on to the next game, let's go for it.
Yeah, let's, so who's up next? Eugene, I'll call you. What do you want to talk about?
So I want to talk about another game that kind of grabbed us by surprise, and that's Shadow of Colossus. And kind of like Monster Hunter, it's for a particular audience because you would have had to play the original on PS2 to really grasp how big that is. But something that we didn't see is a date. once again.
Again.
And it is Japan Studio, and Japan Studio is just known. They're the same makers of The Last Guardian. With no release
It
date,
did say
I'm not.
2018 though.
Oh, it did say 2018. Okay, I missed that, but
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
did, yeah.
Last Guardian.
That's still
Last
kind of
Guardian
vague,
was
though, in
20
regards of the date, though.
But I was saying, does that really count though? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I was very surprised. I was not expecting it. It looks fantastic. And Graham, I've got to say, if you've never played Shadow of the Colossus, you are a huge Zelda fan. Shadow of the Colossus has a lot of Zelda vibes to it. I really think you should check it out. I think you enjoy it. A lot of other people have because it's a silent game. You don't speak, no one speaks, but it tells its own story with just gameplay is all it is. And I
And
think
this
it's
is a
a huge
Sony
surprise.
exclusive.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely
Japan
Sony
Studio.
exclusive,
It's a
yeah.
Sony studio. Yeah, absolutely.
So
But,
if I want to play the older version, how am I able to play it on my PS4?
yes, there's actually a well.
Yeah, the remastered came out
Yeah,
a while back
remastered
ago,
for
right?
PS4. Well, the remaster.
Well, this is a
came out for
remaster of a
PS3.
remaster now, I guess, now.
Yeah, I wouldn't even. It's more of a remake. It looks like to me because they didn't say remastered. They already had an HD version of it come out. So I'm not going to say that yes you can because I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the Sony store. But there's a good possibility that you can play it on PS4. Definitely PS3. I know for a fact.
Okay.
Okay.
Who else on this
Oh,
one?
I do have one of those as well.
Yeah, who else on this game?
Well, I admit
Yeah, I
that
can't say
back
much
when it
on this
came
one.
out on the PlayStation 2, it was by far the most beautiful game that came out on the system. And honestly, when it was first announced that it was getting remade for PlayStation 3, I was excited about that. I didn't get the chance to play it, but I knew that it was going to go ahead and get people excited. And then, of course, to go ahead to see this again, that, it's kind of double dipping and kind of reassures the idea that Sony doesn't do backwards compatibility. They just go ahead and remake their games or remaster their games. But honestly, if you had to go ahead and pinpoint the games that do deserve it, Shadow of the Colossus definitely does deserve it. So,
Oh yeah. I saw the
when it
best
comes
reaction.
out, though, I am definitely going to go ahead and be looking at it again because I want to see, how do you improve on a game that was literally seen as perfection?
Yeah.
Or at least
Uh,
perfection by some people's eyes.
I mean, I saw
Yeah.
the audience just kind of change whenever it announced. So I don't know if you guys saw that as well, but everyone got excited for it because it is one of those games that's it's a PlayStation Sony, it's a Sony pastime for sure. So I'm excited for
Yeah.
it.
The
Well, they
only
got
thing
excited, but then when they realized that it was a remake, they kind of stopped being as excited.
Yeah.
the only
Well,
the only
considering
thing
how
I,
the original story ended, it's kind of obvious that you kind of have to do it as a remake, though.
Yeah.
Not to
Spoilers.
spoil it, of course, but
Yeah. Mike, what'd you have?
nothing. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, Graham, what's your game?
The game I'm going to choose, I'm kind of predictable, I'm going to go with Skyrim VR. Now,
Okay.
before I get completely into Skyrim VR, why didn't we get Fallout 4 VR or Doom VR? They're from the same company, Bethesda, so I'm not quite sure why. I don't know if they got exclusivity to Microsoft for the HTC Vive. I don't know if that was the reason.
well, it's kind
But
of
to think
obvious.
if they can
Bethesda
just-
pulled a DA. It just didn't work
What
out
was
as
that?
effectively, though, in this case. Well, no, if you recall correctly, EA saved Anthem until the Microsoft conference. So they basically, sacrificed their big game for that. So in this case, Bethesda, they could have talked about Skyrim back during their conference, but they held it off until the Sony conference to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do kind of have a theory for this because Bethesda announced all games coming out this year. And like Sony, we've got no date.
Yeah.
It just says
Okay, yeah,
Skyrim
that actually
VR.
does make sense, actually.
So I'm guessing this is probably going to come out next year, and it will probably have those other games as well.
I think
this
so.
will be on the Vive. So
But you know what?
this game looks. Go ahead, Mike.
But you know what, Graham? I don't think there was anything really, any kind of message there at all. I mean, they showed Doom and Fallout last night, and like you said, that was coming out this year. So, and that's probably why they gave him Skyrim to show, because it's going to be available on the PS4 VR, PSVR. So, who's saying that Doom and Fallout aren't going to be,
Yeah, here's my theory: I think they wanted to focus first on completing Doom completing Fallout 4, for the Vive, and then, like you said, in the future, I think we will see it. I don't see why not. There's no reason why we will not see it in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, probably because Fallout 4 and Doom is ready, but PlayStation's like, no, we don't want anything too early. We'll set that for a couple years. But anyways,
Do you think it will? Do you think it will sell some VRs now?
Yes. I think it will,
think so,
because
I do too.
like I was saying before, like all the VR games that we know of that's out there, even the ones that they've shown, other ones, they just showed like little snippets, like little clips, so they don't seem like they're full experiences. Mm-hmm. So like Skyrim, like how many hours can somebody pour into Skyrim? Like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours.
Right.
So the fact that you can do this in VR, well, that can justify buying a PSVR. Now you don't even have to like justify buying like a $1,200. Well, I'm speaking Canadian here, like HTC Vive. So for $600 Canadian, you could now get Skyrim and spend 300 hours in VR world. And so this game's gorgeous. Go ahead.
It is. Here's a fair question though, Graham. Out of the chat, actually, the Twitch chat, and I'll paraphrase, but how many times are we supposed to play Skyrim over and over again and still be excited about it?
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, it just got announced for the Switch as well. Like, I was talking to somebody. He's like, well, I guess I'll be getting it for the third time. And I'm thinking, well, this is going to be like the fourth time for me if I get it for the Nintendo Switch. So, and like I said, I got the collector's or whatever, the special edition, and I've put no time into it. Mm-hmm. But for people who have not jumped onto this, because there's still a lot of people who haven't played Skyrim, and even though these people might even have the PSVR, so they're like, I'm going to get Skyrim in VR and check it out. But can you imagine walking around in that world and seeing like giants and like mammoths just going by you, like, and then fighting dragons? Like that game. Oh yeah, that game gets me excited in VR.
Can I throw a theory out there?
Yep, go ahead.
So, we saw Skyrim on the Switch, right? And they didn't give a lot of detail. Yes. Did they give a release date? They said this year, right? So yeah, it's definitely this year. Yeah. We know that. But we didn't get any detail. We didn't give any detail about a special edition. They just called it Skyrim, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll get into it in Nintendo's conference tomorrow. But I still think there's a small possibility that the Nintendo Switch will have future VR. With that release of the patent last year that we saw. That the headset that with the switch that slides in. So what if there's a possibility that they didn't put a lot of focus into it in their conference because there's a possibility that it's going to be VR for the Switch.
Yeah, well that's what I mean. Like that's why I'm kind of excited for the Nintendo, because we've seen now they've got like backing with like Sony kind of and VR and. They could go somewhere where people aren't expecting, so I'm kind of excited for that. But I don't want to get too off topic for like Nintendo. But yeah, like Skyrim VR, that's the one that probably stood out the most to me. And there's other great games like God of War and stuff like that, which they're definitely going to be must-buys for me when they eventually come out. But Skyrim, I figured I'll talk about that one because I'm sure that one probably wouldn't get mentioned, so I think it's worthy to mention it.
Okay. Cool, well, I'll go. You guys left a couple of big ones off the table, so I'll snag one of them here. Spider-Man. They showed a fantastic trailer of the game. It's and a little bit of gameplay. It looked great. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, we got again no release date, no release window.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I enjoyed Spider-Man.
We got a year.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, we got 2018. I'm sorry. We got a window of 365 days. So 2018. What do you guys think about the game? I mean, I thought the trailer looked great. I thought the gameplay looked fun. It actually looked a little bit like the Arkham games.
Oh yeah.
Or actually a lot like the Arkham games, to be honest. But which I'm fine with.
But that's not an insult. That's
I'm totally okay
kind
with
of
that.
a compliment.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure.
So what do you guys think about that?
I mean, before the E3 before the IGN conference, I think that someone mentioned how Spider-Man and Batman are kind of the most prominent, comic book characters that you could put to video games. Therefore, it does go ahead and make sense to go ahead and use Spider-Man of all Marvel characters to go ahead to make this kind of big high-end game. So it was definitely great to go ahead and see it. I could probably see a few people kind of cringe a bit when they saw that, yes, there will be quick time events, but honestly, though, I kind of like the combat here. The combat was kind of nice and flowy, and that you do see that he does utilize his abilities to the max essentially for the fighting, the webbing, the swinging, and how and how Spider-Man basically causes almost as much collateral damage as Superman in Man of Steel, almost.
Yeah. So the way I see it is like you take a game like Arkham and you put Insomniac spin on it. I'm all for that. So I'm really excited about this game. I just want to know when I can play it.
Right.
Go ahead, Eugene.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a disappointment. The release window. It's not coming this year. It looked very polished. It looked almost done. I mean, that was actual gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we saw a HUD. We saw everything. That would be part of the real game.
We saw Spider-Man get hit.
Yeah. And, I mean, it looked like a finished title. So I was very surprised that why is this not coming out this year? I mean, they finished the conference with this. So this was their big bet, let's say. Which there's another title which I wish it would have been a big bet, but this was a big bet for Sony, and is kind of lackluster. The gameplay did look great, and I do want to give credit to Spider-Man. I was going to ask Mike, did you ever play Spider-Man 2 for PS2? Mike Soul?
Oh, me. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I did go ahead to play as. No, I do remember playing it. It's just that it's been so long since I played it. I played a lot of Spider-Man 3 though, and that was a fairly good game too.
It was a fantastic game. It was touted as one of the better PS2 games, but we compare it to Arkham, but the gameplay is actually very similar to the way it was on PlayStation 2. That there's slowdowns, there's the punches and the grabbing and the combination of using your webbing, and fighting like that. But we just relate it to Arkham because it's more relative to this generation. But I think it's a fantastic looking game. Insomniac, they haven't really messed up any games, so I'm excited to see them develop it. But why no closer release date, no definitive release date?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. And that's kind of the theme of tonight, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to throw it out now.
Well, so many times we got.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Graham.
I would say so many times, like when we were watching this, we did genuinely get excited.
Yeah.
And then we just get let down by either not getting a release date or getting a release date that it's so late that there's so many great games coming between this time and when it gets released that who really cares, right? It looks great and it's going to be amazing when it comes out. But as far as like, why are you trying to whet our appetite in something that we're not going to see for a long time?
Yeah.
We'll see it next year.
The only thing we got definitive dates on was their third-party titles, but
right.
I want to. We're going to throw out for just kind of random extra things we want to talk about now. I want to throw out the first one. Days Gone. We saw more of that. We saw a very different type of trailer than we saw last time. We saw gameplay. We saw extended gameplay.
Much better.
Yes.
And
much better.
Man, I was really impressed with this. And Graham, I want to kind of piggyback on what you were saying. Like, this whole conference was like, oh, this looks awesome, 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 awesome. And then it's like, oh, there's no release date.
Yeah.
And
not even a year on this one.
Yeah, this was kind of another example of that, and it's unfortunate. And I was disappointed for fans of Sony and for myself because I actually kind of after tonight wanted to get this game, but it was fun watching.
And
yeah, go ahead.
I would say this being a zombie game too. Like so many people are already tired of zombie games, and now we have I just thought of one that we got coming out, but I forget it now. But another one. We don't know when that one's coming out, right? Whatever. There's another zombie game. State of Decay.
Yep.
So by the time this game comes out, are we going to be completely and utterly sick of zombie games? Because there's probably going to be 8 other zombie games come out before this game.
Yeah.
But the game looks great, like you're saying, Todd.
I've already been suffering through Dead Rising 4 enough already.
Oh God, let's not bring up that.
I already said a year ago I'm sick and tired of the zombie genre.
So, I was not impressed last year. Like, whenever it got shown last year, I'm like, oh, great, more zombie hordes, that we... I wasn't thoroughly impressed. But this gameplay was actually very interesting.
It was.
I mean, they showed they showed a lot of different perspectives. They first show, that you're at a camp, and then you jump on your motorcycle, and then suddenly you're ambushed. You're suddenly ambushed, and then you kill these guys with a few quick time events, and then you go on into the woods where you see some hordes, and then you come up across some other biker camps, right? And then you actually, I thought it was pretty unique, the way he utilized the zombie horde as a weapon, which I have not seen that. I have not seen that really before in a whole lot of games. The exception is I can't even remember. What is that first person zombie game that came out a year and a half ago, 2 years ago? That was really good.
Dying Light.
Dying Light, yes,
Yep.
yes. So that's one example where you could utilize hordes, to your advantage. But it was very unique and it actually piqued my interest to see this. But once again, I was hoping whenever the screen blackened that we would see September, November, very close because but it didn't see it. One more, just another strike against, not showing a release date, and I think that was not good, not good.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was kind of split down the middle in regards of Days Gone that we got tonight and the Days Gone we got last year because, it's been overdone. And while I did like what I saw last night, tonight, I was looking at this and thinking of the one of last year, and it's like, I could see where it was brilliant to have so many of these zombies flooding at you at one time, and the number of zombies that were here, there wasn't that many. And it's like,
well, there were on the bridge that was down below. They were on the bridge down below. Yeah.
It was like, seen for, what we had previously to what we had right here. And it kind of felt like slightly underwhelming because you had this big super chase, like trying to survive it. Then here it's like, okay, I'm going to use these zombies. I'm going to go up the ladder, shoot a guy in the face. Then suddenly, zombie bear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, it's like, this does look great. But then when you compare it to what we saw last time, it's still kind of like, how do you top a wave of zombies coming at you not DayZ, World War Z, that's what I was looking for. Coming at you endlessly like that. And then from here it's like, well, maybe one zombie could have just maybe gone a little bit to the right and see you behind the log and jump you maybe, but...
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
That, I'm still excited for Days Gone, but it is kind of like, we are kind of overplaying
We've seen too much. Yeah.
Yeah, we have literally seen too much, and now we're starting to get oversaturated on it.
It's
so
time
now
for
when
the
we
game.
see this next year, you're going to be questioning, okay, why is this
I
not
know.
out? Why are we still having to wait another year until we finally get this game?
Because remember, last year they showed it twice
Yeah,
in
exactly.
their conference. They showed at the beginning and then again at the
They
end.
made it. Yeah, they put the insinuation in us, thinking that we're going to see this next year, and now we're now going to see this next year.
Yeah, I know.
That doesn't
Maybe.
work like that.
Maybe we don't have a release date.
Maybe. We don't know. But we're hoping. It looks closer to done, though. I mean, it looks like this thing's coming soon. But I like what I do like is the fact that you have to put some thought into what you do, and there's some strategy behind what you do to get the outcome you want. So I like that. It's not just a straightforward like shoot 'em up type game, So I'm cool with that, and I like that aspect.
It kind of a Last of Us feel, like Eugene said.
A little bit.
Which was
definitely.
great. Yep.
So what else do you guys have? I have a couple others if you don't have anything, but what do you guys have?
Well, if you want to talk about The Last of Us really fast, we could talk about another game that borrowed some aspects from it right now, aka God of War.
Yeah, let's talk about God of War for sure.
Because, I'm not going to talk about it too much because it's kind of obvious where I'm going with this, but yeah, definitely that they are going with a much stronger narrative this time around for this God of War than ever before because, previously you have Kratos that couldn't go, one line without, or 2-3 lines without yelling someone's death or whatever. But here we do see, like, he is basically treating this boy in the exact same format as Ellie, I believe her name is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Ellie, Joel and Ellie.
Yeah, and in that sense, I like that. That's nice. And, combat, it's a nice little change of pace, too. Kind of vastly different from what we've seen. It does feel slower, but then at the same time, at least it looks, feels more powerful, too. But, and in the end, though, this looks great. Where's the release date? And it's this song and dance again.
Yeah, so once
Go
again,
ahead, Eugene.
we didn't see a release date, and I was kind of disappointed.
Yes, we did.
We did?
Well, early
Early
2018.
2018.
Yeah,
But
early
But what we
2018.
got, this is
not January 2nd,
but this is our
2018. We didn't.
no,
it
no,
could
but
be, it
but
could
this
be
is
January,
what we
February,
got
March.
to the closest exclusive release. Okay, so this is our biggest hope.
Yeah. What I
So-
was disappointed, another thing was we saw more actual gameplay footage in the last conference, which
Yeah,
we
we
saw
did.
like him actually battle that big Cyclops. We didn't see a lot of that. We saw a lot more cinematic with this, but it built upon the relationship. Like you said, it does feel like a father-son, which I have a theory. I don't think it's his son, because we saw a few hints in the movie, and we saw a few we saw a few hints in the trailer, and we saw some in the last announcement. That there's a presence of Thor here. We saw the giant hammer, and there's presence of Thor in the last one as well. And they never refer to him as his son. They just say that he's someone's son. He's someone's son, and he needs a father. But
Yeah, and you
never
even
say
know. Oh, sorry. And yeah, you even notice that towards the end, where he's literally looking over to the boy and being like, "What is he saying?" And it's like, okay, yeah, we definitely know that there's a different kind of relationship here instead of father and son. Because yeah, if that was the case, either Kratos would have known, or otherwise, there's something much bigger going on here.
Yeah.
Besides the giant world snake, whatever.
And I
it
love
was.
that. I love that theory. That's a good catch. But I was impressed with the gameplay we saw. I was impressed with just what we saw in the game. Period. Again, I wish I was playing it this year, but early next year, I guess, is not so bad compared to the other stuff we saw.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Anybody else
One
on
we
that
have
one?
the biggest hope for.
I don't know.
Apparently.
Okay. What else would we like to throw out?
So I want to talk about, we saw a lot of great first party games, several repeats from last year. We saw, Skyrim VR, but there's something missing from this year that I was really, really hopeful for. And we brought it up a few times, but where was The Last of Us 2? Well, I was almost certain at the end when they're like, well, we have a true first party title. And I'm like, yes, Last of Us. And then, then we saw Spider-Man, which Spider-Man was great. But The Last of Us has a bearing on my experience with video games, to where it was whenever I think of a truly great video game, like if I was to say my top 10, that Last of Us would be there. And it was missing. And we saw a great trailer last year, and it is pretty disappointing that we didn't see anything about it this year.
Yeah, no,
Anyway,
I really thought we were going to hear something about it as well.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't make sense that they didn't show it. They showed it last year, right? Right. Why not show it this year? So I didn't understand that.
Yeah, honestly, that's the biggest shocker that we got out of this conference. It wasn't any surprise reveals outside of what I mentioned at the start, but it was the idea that The Last of Us 2 just got the shaft. That, it literally joins Final Fantasy VII and Kingdom Hearts 3 in regards of the whole, we just made a huge impact this year, but we're not going to be here next year. Like or actually, yeah, I shouldn't mention Death Stranding quite yet, but yeah, but, at least that was confirmed that it wasn't going to be on the E3 conference this year. The Last of Us 2, people thought we were going to see that tonight, and we didn't.
Yeah. It was the greatest disappointment of the night, for me at least. I was looking totally forward. I thought it was going to be their big bet. The conference would have turned around if they had given a release date to The Last of Us 2. But they didn't. They hardly gave any release dates for many games at all, and I think that was the general consensus, that where were the release dates for these games, and why you brought up Final Fantasy, you brought up Kingdom Hearts, those were also absent, which we were kind of expecting that. But
me too.
Final Fantasy was not absent, man. Don't forget, there was Final Fantasy.
Yes.
Oh, there
Fantasy
was
fishing.
there was Super Black
It came with a
Bass
fishing
VR.
rod, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to make me buy a PSVR.
Hell yeah.
No, I was actually excited whenever I saw that. I'm like, oh, are we getting the expansion we've been waiting for? But no, we're getting a Noctis fishing minigame, which I love Final Fantasy, but I kind of got red in the face and swept that under the rug.
Why'd you get red in the face for?
I'm like, I think I even said
The Fisher nude.
We're no. We're like watching the conference, and I'm like, yes, Final Fantasy fishing, and I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, they could have showed off Dissidia too, just to reassure people that it was coming to consoles too. But yeah, Dissidia was a no-show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you do want to talk about expansions that are coming to other games, we could also talk about the expansion we saw for Horizon 2 if you want.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you mean Horizon, not Horizon 2.
I thought I said Horizon. It's going to be the sole issue with the P in this again, isn't it?
I think you said Forza Horizon.
Oh, I thought I said no, I said for Horizon, not Forza Horizon.
You're gonna fit that into every show. You got like a bet or something.
I got to make the audience happy, even though they don't know who I was until the last episode. Hope you guys are happy.
Yeah, but the Horizon, I think that was kind of an unknown as well. We weren't expecting that.
That was a good surprise.
Oh yeah, it was a very nice surprise. I still haven't beaten Zero Dawn. I want to get back into it because it was a fantastic game. It was a fantastic first-party game. I'm waiting for it again.
Yeah, it looked great to me, and the graphics and everything looked fantastic, and the fact that it's such a different environment was awesome.
Yeah.
So that was a high point for me, except it was super early in the conference, and it really felt like early they were trying to just get some stuff out of the way so we could clear the way for the big stuff later. And for me, that, to go into just kind of the other thing I want to talk about, this conference was really short.
Yes. Oh, yes. Extremely short.
I mean, Sony generally goes over their time. I remember, 2013, 2014, they went over their hour and a half. And
I think we talked more.
I
think we talked more on the podcast now than
we have
the conference. Yeah,
we've officially been recording longer than Sony was on stage. And it's just, I don't know, it's disappointing. It's like when the day comes that you watch Tom Brady walk out limping and almost crippled, to try to take one more snap. It's like, because these guys have been the king of E3 for the last few years. And with the occasional, year for debate, like last year, I felt last year was super close between them, between them and Microsoft. But in years past, like 2013, it wasn't even close. And Sony's kind of been seen as having this formula for E3 that just works every single year, and I didn't see it, and it almost made me sad. It was just watching them kind of just go out and run through the motions, and it was almost sad.
Yeah, I think we're all pretty dumbfounded when we're like, "What? That's the end." We thought something else was going to happen at the end of the show. We saw the lights, and we're like, "Hold on, something else is coming out." And then nope, everyone left. But I really thought they're going to have a lot more filler. I mean, they added Horizon. They talked a little bit more about Uncharted, but we already know Uncharted is coming out very soon. It's coming out in the next couple of months. I think July or August. We already know that was coming out. They filled in a little bit of time with that. And I thought they were going to fill in a little bit more time, which we haven't really touched upon the third parties, but we saw Destiny, we saw Call of Duty. What did you guys think about those third parties?
Well, that's what I was going to say, Call of Duty, because this is the first time we actually seen it for E3 anyways.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen much of Call of Duty. So it looked good. It was Call of Duty. It was World War II. Nothing really stood out. Personally, I always choose Battlefield over Call of Duty. So it didn't there was nothing wow, I gotta play this or something like this. But I'm sure it's gonna be generally a really good experience for people who like Call of Duty, and the multiplayer will blow up online. But I'm genuinely a Battlefield guy. So
the thing that shocks me the most about this whole thing that was done for Call of Duty, we didn't get a gameplay demo for this at all. No. I think this is the first ever thing for Call of Duty that we have never seen a live demo done for it. It was just a trailer and that was it. Yep. So that
we
was
didn't even hear
really
anything
shocking.
about exclusives either, exclusive DLC, play it first, which we didn't get that message at all during Sony, which is also a surprise. We saw a little bit of Destiny with that, play this strike now or first and play this multiplayer map. But I'm surprised Call of Duty they didn't do their old-fashioned, bring the Activision guy on stage or, make a big deal out of it. They didn't. So, very surprising.
And there's no zombies either, which I don't know if that's surprising, but...
People are saying online that this was multiplayer gameplay. and it's kind of believable. We didn't see a lot of single player aspects of it.
Yeah, and I wish
people
we'd
were
seen
s-
something.
Yeah.
I don't know. For Call of Duty, I liked what we saw towards the end a lot. And in the middle, I don't know if it was just a stream quality thing or whatnot, but the game didn't look that great, and it might have just been stream quality. So I'm not gonna like judge it on that. But what
It
we
wasn't
saw
very
towards
fluid.
the end, yeah, what we saw towards the end looked fantastic, and you know I'm probably planning on getting that game. What concerned me was Destiny 2. We're less than 3 months from launch. We didn't see any sort of extended gameplay or gameplay really at all.
Yeah.
In that
We
game,
saw a little bit of story elements,
and-
but that was it.
Yeah,
And especially for
point,
them
it's kinda
having
on a hope and a
exclusive
prayer at
rights,
this
you
point.
think they would try to run with it, right? And say, okay, we got the exclusive reveal of this or whatever like that, so we're gonna run with it. But they didn't, and they could have took advantage of it, made it a little longer, and showed people, because everyone knew it was going to be there and they were excited for it. So why not give the fans what they wanted and like fill it up and make your conference just a little longer?
yeah. That's kind of where I was at, but I was disappointed in those two. I was looking forward to those two especially, and I really wanted to see some Red Dead 2 here too, but
Yeah.
I wasn't
We did see it.
expecting it. But we didn't get it. I'm not going to hold that against Sony because it shouldn't be an expectation that we should see it here, but I was hoping for that too. So I don't know. Anything else from anybody?
Not really, man.
Okay.
Can't really think of much
So-
else.
Covered
I
a lot
think
of
that
it.
we literally just covered almost just about all the games that were shown tonight, actually.
I know, except we the only thing we haven't covered
Yeah.
is like the whole
Except-
VR run through they had.
Yeah.
But we
mean,
didn't
it's great,
see enough
but-
of those games.
Yeah.
And there's really nothing that stood out from all the VR
No.
ones. And
Skyrim was the
for
only
one thing,
one.
they were like super. Yeah, that was the only one. And for one thing, like their clips were like 2 minutes long. Like they weren't very long at all. Like
I mean-
basically, when you're trying to figure out, I think I might know what's happening, then it's over. So I had no idea what they were about.
Well, and here's the real kicker if you think about it. Remember last year that when they were trying to sell the PlayStation VR, what was the big thing that we saw out of it? Resident Evil 7. This year, I don't think that there was even anything that came close to being seen as the biggest thing. And the closest I could think of is Final Fantasy Fishing.
Skyrim.
That was literally all that I could think of that would
Skyrim,
inspire.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, and Skyrim too, but at least that. Well, for the Skyrim though, you don't know when it's coming out though. You knew that you were at least going to be getting Resident Evil at the beginning of the year. For the
Yeah, that's
fishing,
true.
that's probably going to be added on here maybe later on, I think. But
I thought I said like September 9th or something, right?
yeah, exactly. So that's literally the only thing I could think of. Like, if I want to get a PlayStation VR, what am I going to get this year? Fishing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of kills the mood.
The best kind of
Yeah.
fishing, though.
Yes, the best kind of fishing, but it's still technically fishing. And if you didn't like the fishing in Final Fantasy 15, then you're kind of boned.
I liked it, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna play. I'm not gonna play a standalone mini game about it.
Right.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it too, but honestly, I had my fix with just the regular fishing. I did what I need to do there.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Anything else on the conference anybody wants to chat about, or should we move into fan questions because we have
Questions.
a few?
Let's answer those questions.
Fire the questions.
Yep, go for
All
the
right.
questions.
The fans what they want.
Fine. All right, so we have one from Sean, and I apologize if I get your last name wrong, but Sean Capusta, I think it is, or Capusta. He says, as a PlayStation guy, I found it absurd how crappy our presentation was, and went on to say, I wasn't impressed at all. The overall presentation was comparable to Death by PowerPoint. For me, only a couple of titles stood out, and not a lot was revealed. So, kind of from the horse's mouth, I guess, from a true Sony fan. I don't know. I thought what they showed was actually good for the most part, but they didn't give us any indication of when we were actually going to play it.
Death by PowerPoint, that sounds really brutal. I wouldn't even wish that on my worst enemies.
I know. So what do you guys have to say about that?
I mean, I kind of agree that. That I wasn't expecting. I was expecting more of a conference to where we saw, Shuei Yoshida, a few more guest speakers, somebody from Activision, somebody from EA. We didn't see that. We saw a video montage, of the games that were coming out soon.
I think there was
later.
only one gameplay demo at the start with Days Gone, and one gameplay demo at the end with Spider-Man. And literally
Yeah.
everything in between was nothing more than a trailer. That it almost felt like that. I don't want to say that they should have done a Nintendo Direct, but honestly, at this point, that could actually be the case here too. Strangely enough,
Could have been.
and now people are starting to copy Nintendo now for some really weird reason. But I'm confused now. I don't know what to say.
So
It'll be okay, man. It'll be okay.
It'll be okay. It'll be okay. It's okay to have one down year for Sony. It's all right.
Yeah.
We had another
But
comment.
now people are understanding the doubts now. I'm not going insane anymore.
I know.
Yeah.
So, we had another comment from a fan saying, really liked Spider-Man: The Red Knight Rises. So
That hurts.
kind of a play on the Dark Knight and the Arkham trilogy, which Spider-Man looked a lot like that, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
As long as there's no like Spider Tank in the third one,
Yeah.
then I'm good.
Yeah.
So
I think that
It
comment
works,
also
it
included
works.
Data War.
Mm-hmm.
The Data War.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another one, watched a bit of it. Overall, was not that impressed. Out of all the conferences, I felt Microsoft was the best. EA was a joke, and Bethesda was very subpar, and I feel like that's what we're going to debate here in a second.
What?
And Devolver was just plain weird. Will be interesting to see what Nintendo does with the Switch tomorrow. So, I personally love Bethesda.
Oh yeah.
I thought they did a
Absolutely.
fantastic job. I thought, I'm going
Yeah.
to say it again, and I know I've said it a few times, but I think the Evil Within trailer was one of the best trailers I've ever seen.
It still is. It still is.
Yeah, I'm too scared to play horror games, but if I liked horror games, I really would be getting excited right now for Evil Within 2.
Yeah, it was just a phenomenal trailer for a game. I was ready to play it yesterday. I was ready to give them $60 yesterday and play the game. And then to close with
and wouldn't
Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein just before?
Yeah.
Or
No,
Wolfenstein was
Wolfenstein
after,
closed
right?
it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah,
Those
Wolfenstein
were
closed.
two amazing trailers.
Yeah, I felt that their conference was extremely fan-friendly. I thought it was a lot of fan service, which is good, but it wasn't pandering.
Mm-hmm.
No. It was fun, too. It was, like,
yeah.
lighthearted. It was, like...
I thought it was well done.
I know it just said the Nintendo Direct that Bethesda probably should have done it, but honestly, that's, from my standpoint, I enjoyed it. And if they were going to go with the Direct standpoint, I'd say that Bethesda did a really good job, too.
Mm-hmm. But where we'll agree with you, sir, my friend in the chat here, is that I think we're all going to agree that EA was a joke.
Yeah.
As if we need to debate that one.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
It wouldn't have been
sorry,
as
but-
bad if they kept Anthem for themselves, but they gave away their best product that they had to showcase, so...
Now
all I
EA's
gotta say.
biggest problem was is at the end they did 30 minutes of Battlefront, then they put that stupid piece of crap old ass mobile phone game on there.
yeah,
As
to
the-
close it
as
out.
Close
the
it
outcome.
out.
Yeah,
Woo!
I know. Like, here's our one more thing. Don't show Dead Space to get people excited. Show that. But anyway, off topic of Sony, which Sony's probably happy about right now, unfortunately. What games so far from all the conferences the past few days would you say has gotten you the most excited? Are there any Sony titles in that? And what are your expectations from Nintendo? So that's a multifaceted question. But for me, the title that honestly has me most excited, I love the Evil Within trailer, and I'm so hyped to play that game. But the title that has me most excited right now is the pirate game from Ubisoft today.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah.
was fantastic.
Skull and Bones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, honestly, if you were to ask me this question yesterday, I would really be having a hard time trying to give you an answer. But yeah, definitely today, that besides already me
Monster
gushing
Hunter.
over Monster Hunter, obviously, that, if that didn't happen, I definitely think that I would have said Skull and Bones. And, I'm hoping that they do something better with Skull and Bones than they did with For Honor in regards to server
I hope
issues.
so.
I was
As
just
if
thinking
I
the
have to
same
state
thing.
that out loud.
Mhm.
No, yeah, I know, and I'm
Yes.
ready for disappointment there, but Skull and Bones definitely is a game to be looking out for. This is the game that people wanted to play since Black Flag, so that's definitely going to be one. To look
Now
out
you
for.
brought that up, I feel that server issues could be a problem because it'd be like, we didn't expect this many people to play this type of game.
And
No, that's what's going to happen, unfortunately.
How many times is this game going to get delayed? because it's
This is
Ubisoft.
true.
Ugh.
We're probably gonna play this game
Yeah.
in 2020, but that's okay.
And the type of
It
game
looks
is
awesome
too.
today.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what game
But at
has
least
you
you'll
guys?
have
The rest
Sea
of you guys?
Thieves to tie you over till then.
True. What game is the rest of you guys most excited?
I'll go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with you, man. Bethesda with Wolfenstein. That
Okay.
game
Yeah, that's a good
looked
call.
awesome.
Does.
And even though like I'm a huge Fallout fan, and there's like hints of Fallout and stuff like that, but it seems like the music is gonna be amazing. The characters is gonna be like colorful, and the gameplay looks really sweet. So I'm definitely looking forward, and I can't wait to get my
It's
hands on that
Nazis of
game.
the 70s in New Orleans. What
Mhm.
more do you need to love about it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Mike. How about you?
For me, while Skull and Bones is a very close second, Far Cry 5 for me.
Okay.
You know.
Good call.
Oh, it looks so good.
Look at how
Yeah.
much love Ubisoft's
Yeah.
getting here.
I know.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely a turn in the right direction.
It is.
Well, like I said before, that people are freaking out because they don't want to say Ubisoft won E3, but a lot of people are finding
Can't win
themselves saying it
E3
right now.
though.
No,
You can't-
you can't win E3,
Great.
of course, but
Great
you know-
games, but poor conference is what it was.
Yeah, I don't think they won. I think,
Yeah.
but I think they're
yeah,
up
but
there.
they just had a really good lineup in comparison to what other conferences had, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
No,
Yeah,
I'm saying
yeah,
I'm
they
saying they can't win E3 because all they do is come out with like 4 or 5 games or whatever it is, and then they're done. Same thing
Yeah.
with EA, and the same thing with
Bethesda.
Bethesda.
Oh boy.
Ow! And then
Good job.
what you got?
You're
you
getting
got-
there.
You got Nintendo. You have PlayStation. You have Xbox,
Xbox.
who all can put out hardware and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
they can expand far greater than a couple of software developers can.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
but
kind of
then-
agree. I think when you talk about the winner of E3, it's one of the big three. It's always going to be Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft.
Yeah. But
we
here's
can-
the other thing. Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was going to say we can talk about best developer showing, and so far I would say that's Bethesda. With Ubisoft is a super close second, and then he is a distant third.
God,
So,
Yeah.
Woo! Although I'm really looking forward to Battlefront 2.
yeah, I am too.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm feeling a
Yes.
little bit more comfortable about Battlefront 2 than I am
Oh.
with the original Battlefront. I'll at least go ahead
You
and
know-
confess that much.
Yeah, yeah.
Still
I keep
gonna be approaching it
forgetting
cautiously, though.
Shadow of War. Shadow of
Yeah,
War.
yeah, you're right.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Right.
I definitely would have said Shadow of War, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
But we knew of that one before the conference. But
Yeah.
they did show it at conference. If I had to pick one they showed at conference, it would be Shadow of War, and
Okay.
then it would be Wolfenstein.
Okay, Eugene, how about you?
So I'm gonna kind of go around everyone else, and I'm gonna say Assassin's Creed.
All right.
Yeah,
I think that's a
Okay.
good call,
Fair
man.
enough.
I think that's man, that game looks amazing.
yeah, and
And
it's
That game
Especially-
in 4K,
Yeah.
native
especially,
4K, looks stunning.
It's
Yeah.
definitely shaping up to be the best one by far, except for if you want to argue Black Flag. But it's from the Black Flag developers, so how bad can it be?
I think it's going to have some
Yeah.
Black Flag elements. I think they're going to put it in there unless they put all their ship fighting energy into Skulls and Bones.
Skull and Bones.
I'm
No,
excited
I
for
think you're right.
I'm excited for Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed Origins. It looked fantastic. The gameplay looked fantastic. I'm ready to jump into some classic feeling Assassin's Creed. So I'm excited for that. I'm also excited for one more title which wasn't mentioned at the Sony conference. And Stephen Wiseman brought it up in our forums. Ni no Kuni 2, which I know you guys probably haven't played the first Ni no Kuni.
I wish
Mike, I
I
don't
did,
know.
actually.
Yeah, it's a level 5 game. It's a fantastic Japanese RPG. It's a Studio Ghibli animated video game. But I love that game, and they actually had a announce date, and it was on the show floor today. But why didn't they include it into the Sony conference? That could have been one exclusive that they could have had with a definitive release date. I mean, they've said November 10th, and it would have been this year as well. So I'm kind of surprised they didn't show it at the Sony conference because they should have.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna go with that. All right, so let's. The last part of this question actually kind of takes us into transition towards tomorrow. So let's do that. What are your expectations from Nintendo?
My
I feel like-
expectation.
Expectations.
Or who wants to go
Somebody
first
go.
on this one?
let me just say this first, because I really don't know what Nintendo's going to bring out. But being super positive and hoping that Nintendo does a lot of good here. I just want them to come up with a bunch of really good games for people who have gotten the Switch. I want this console to be successful for them.
Mhm.
So
I agree.
I'm
But,
not
you
sure
know, they're
what they're going to show, but I'm just hoping that whatever it is, it comes off well received and everybody's happy.
yeah.
Good. Good
I was gonna
answer,
say
man.
the Switch does have a lot of great titles, but it would be good to get some more. But so, who else wants to go?
I'll go and I'll say I expect to see a lot of Mario tomorrow.
Well,
And-
yeah,
kind of
Mario
goes
Odyssey.
without
Yeah,
saying.
I
It's
still
got
see a
Odyssey
lot
to
of
talk
that.
about, so
And I really now if I'm reaching out there, I want to see a third party we haven't heard of yet coming to
Yeah,
Switch.
I think we will. Like there seems to be a lot of hints of it with Ubisoft and stuff like that. I think they had like 3 games. I think that's coming out on Switch.
Yeah,
that was
they seem
announced
to
anyways.
form a pretty good relationship with them. So, and the fact that Ubisoft had a strong conference this year, I'd like to see another first party go to them, and I just want to see another first or third party go to Nintendo. And
Do you think
Yes.
we'll see a big AAA game, kind of like Assassin's Creed or one of those types of games?
I think it depends
Like-
because
Like
Like-
from them or third
No,
party.
a
'Cause
AAA
No,
title.
third party.
Skyrim would be a really big one.
yeah, but that's old,
Yeah,
dude.
but
That's like
we
5
knew
years
about
old.
that. We knew about that.
A
Yeah,
new game.
okay,
A
you
new
mean
game.
that would.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
Okay,
one
you
of the
mean when we
newly
don't know
announced
about it.
games like Assassin's Creed or
that would be
Wolfenstein,
amazing.
something like that on the Switch.
Yeah.
Oh,
Even
that would
even a
be
new
amazing.
Rayman's.
Oh,
Yeah,
a new
like-
Rayman would be
that would be
fantastic.
that's
good.
possible actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I don't
But
give
you-
him credit
you know-
for. Go ahead, Graham.
I was say because you've seen Shigeru Miyamoto with an Ubisoft stage, maybe someone else will be on like the stage with Nintendo and like
Rayman.
another big
Yeah.
third party.
It
Yeah.
could
Well,
be,
not
so-
just
That would be a
Rayman
good one.
Legends the definitive edition, but maybe a
Yeah.
brand new Rayman title that
I
could
want-
just be teased
Exactly.
right now.
Exactly.
And that brings me into what I was going to say. I don't consider Skyrim to be a major AAA third-party release for them because that game is 4 or 5 years old. And
'Cause
it's
it's old,
great.
yeah.
It's great that they're
That's
getting
fair.
it, but I want to see day and date release along with Xbox One and PS4. On the Switch. I want to see a company make that commitment. We've only seen it so far from NBA 2K and FIFA.
Yeah, so the third party
Yeah.
definitely needs to be seen tomorrow for
Yeah.
sure.
So I want to see third party support. It doesn't have to be anything massive. Like, Destiny would never run on it. Call of Duty, I don't know if
Yeah.
it would run on it.
Hard to say.
Well, let's not forget too that they also have the 3DS, so I'm sure we're gonna get some 3DS titles, and we might get another Animal Crossing one for the
Well,
Switch.
we got Lost
'cause
Oasis
that
and
would be
I'm on standby, so
that would be an
gonna be one.
amazing Switch title too.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
that would do great
Yeah.
for Nintendo.
Yeah,
So
just
I
wanna see
think they have a
something.
lot of great options, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. Unfortunately, I'm gonna be at work, so maybe I can
I know.
sneak away at one point and watch it.
Well, we'll all get
But
a chance to
yeah, I
watch
know.
it. Yeah, we'll all get a
Yeah.
chance to watch before we do the podcast tomorrow night. So,
yeah.
Oh,
Well, just
yeah, for
really
sure.
fast, just just so I could just
And I
drop
want to
off
throw
my
my
2
cents
cents
in there
as well.
too.
yeah, go. No, we're not done. Go for it.
Okay, because one thing I'm gonna say right now, because I feel like I'm gonna beat the Monster Hunter stick down to a bloody pulp, and like I said before, I do want to see the Monster Hunter Double Cross get officially confirmed, and we're likely going to go to see that tomorrow. But alongside with that, though, the one main thing I want to see is that if we look at the Switch as of late, you start to realize we're starting to see a pattern here, because one month we had Mario Kart 8, this month we're gonna get ARMS. Next month, we're going to get Splatoon 2. The following month, that's when the Mario Rabbids game comes out. The following month, Pokken Tournament DX. We are literally seeing a
Every
case
month.
to where, every month there's a big game coming out on Switch. And not only that, this is Switch year one. People are taking
Yeah.
notice just how big Nintendo is going all out on this first year. And of course,
They
that's
are.
not even talking about, Mario Odyssey, the expansion, the first DLC pack for Breath of the Wild.
Mhm.
And the one thing we have to keep in mind is that no matter what, we're going to see something else big coming down here because they have to, wrap up Switch year one with something big. So who knows what that's going to be? It's probably
I
too
agree,
early
yeah.
to talk Smash Bros, but you know, definitely for sure.
And we
I
will
definitely want to be seeing a surprise.
Yeah,
You
and
can-
we'll definitely be seeing some Zelda
Yeah.
tomorrow, just
for sure.
because they have that DLC that's about to come out and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they open with Zelda.
and by the way,
I want to
we're
see
gonna-
the story expansion.
Yeah. And by the
Yeah,
way,
but
we're gonna see
but
a
here's
ton
the
of
last thing
Splatoon
I just want
tomorrow,
to. Okay, but yeah, here's the last thing I want to touch on, because this could be tied in literally with all three conferences. Because think of it like this: Nintendo, they're only going to spend 30 minutes talking about it, while the rest of the time will be Treehouse stuff. And of course, we know that they're going to do the rapid fire thing again, most likely, just to get as many of them out of the way as they can. Meanwhile, Sony's thing was an hour long, and literally Microsoft was the one that actually took their time to actually showcase stuff.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And that is so weird to actually think of, that out of the big three, Microsoft was the one that actually took more than an hour to actually get through their stuff. Whereas,
Microsoft always takes an hour and a half, but the fact they took an hour 45 was pretty impressive. And
Oh yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
the problem is, like, I think I've said this before, and I don't know if I said it on the podcast, but Microsoft's always had this label of kind of being the corporate conference. You know, it looks very corporately put together a lot of times, whereas Sony often feels like this is fan service, and it's done incredibly well, and it works. And that's not a knock on Sony. It's just saying that Sony does a great job communicating in a way that connects with their fan base. Whereas Microsoft, and as good of a job as Phil Spencer has done, and I think the man's done an amazing job as head of Xbox, I think there's still a tiny, tiny disconnect there in terms of really connecting with that fan base the way Sony does. But I'll agree. I think Xbox did an amazing job this year, and I look forward to what Nintendo does tomorrow. I think we'll see a ton of Splatoon, we'll see a ton of Mario, but I'm really looking for that surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna have a surprise guest on the Nintendo Direct. I was gonna say on stage, but obviously it's not stage.
Yeah.
On the Nintendo Direct, just because there've been a little crossover that Nintendo guys were on Ubisoft, so there might be someone from another company, maybe even Ubisoft will be on Nintendo's
little
to announce
trade,
another
yeah.
thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, a little trade off. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gene,
well-
what do you got?
So just real quickly, I want to see a lot of first-party titles from Nintendo. We need to see a lot more of those.
we're going to
Yes, we
see
need-
that, no doubt.
Yeah, we need the third-party support as well, but I really think that they need to bank on Smash Brothers. And I have a theory about, you know, they had the Pokemon Direct a few weeks ago, a week and a half ago. They showed off Pokemon Pokken Tournament DX, and then they showed off Pokemon Ultra Moon and Ultra Sun, which I think they wanted to get those out of the way, because I still have a feeling that there's so I think there's going to
Are
be
so
a
upset that
Switch.
Stars didn't get announced.
I think there's going to be a Pokemon Switch title, and then also they wanted to get the Pokken fighting game out of the way so they can really push Smash Brothers. They don't want two competing fighting games on the stage.
Well, they're going to have three competitive fighting games going on at one time: the Pokken, the Splatoon, and ARMS all at the same time. apparently.
I don't think they're gonna put too much out there about ARMS, because we've heard enough about ARMS, and it's releasing like next week.
Well, there's the Invitational that's going to be going on here pretty quick.
Yeah.
We'll probably
But
see
I
that.
think I think they're gonna really bank on Pokemon for Switch. I think they're gonna bank on Smash Bros. And I also am hoping for Metroid, and I'm hoping for and I'm hoping for
me too.
I'm hoping for Mario sooner rather than later.
Yeah. What about Virtual Console, Eugene?
So yeah,
You think we're gonna get announcement about it?
I hope they talk about their multiplayer or aspect as well. You know, their subscription service, and I hope they touch upon the release of Virtual Consoles and me getting my games back that I purchased on the Wii U and the Wii originally. So I hope they do touch upon those, but I'm not going to get my hopes up.
And
Well, if they do
just
that,
want to add one last
we're
thing
gonna have
really
to
fast.
go get
it.
a memory card to expand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go for it,
but
Mike.
here's the thing that kills me the most about what's going to be happening tomorrow on Nintendo's E3 thing. This is going to be the first E3 Direct that we're going to have without Iwata. Because they didn't do anything, of course, for last year, because they were all focused on Breath of the Wild and, of course, Iwata's unfortunate passing. So, yeah, it's going to be really weird to go ahead and watch this presentation without Iwata, since this is going to be the first official conference that we're going to see from them since Iwata passed away 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although we did have the kind of celebration of him at the Game Awards.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So-
And honestly, I want to keep celebrating the man, of course,
Yeah.
regardless of if it's going to be like another year or so. It's just that it just dawned on me right now that Iwata's not going to be here. That's we're not going to see an Iwata Robot Chicken, Iwata Muppets. I hope there's a fun sketch, by the way, for tomorrow. But yeah, definitely. I don't know if they're going to try to do anything fun this year, or if it's just going to be, let's just get straight down to business.
We'll see Reggie. We'll see Miyamoto, and we'll see Sakurai. But their new president is he's very corporate. He's very serious and business like. They're going to put.
You do not
fun
cross
on
Bowser.
Yeah. Oh, you got
Eugene.
Bowser too over America, but we're going to have Miyamoto and Sakurai and definitely Reggie.
Eugene.
Yeah.
Will they snap their fingers above their head?
I think they're done with that, but I think they will
Okay.
bring
Definitely.
a couch on stage. I think they will lay on the couch.
Okay. Good
Yeah.
enough.
They
let's
may
get it-
snap their fingers once.
All right.
Who knows?
Let's get into our giveaways and then get out of here. So our giveaways, we have two tonight, two really good ones actually. So our first one will go to a member of our Facebook community, Sean Capusta.
Drum roll.
Yes,
Nice.
congratulations.
Yay.
You win a copy
Congratulations, Sean.
You win a copy of The Surge on PS4, which
Nice.
is pretty
Oh,
awesome.
very good.
So we'll be in contact with you to get that code out to you. And second up, one second.
That doesn't sound like a drum roll. That sounds like something very much else.
Yeah.
Second
Gotta
one goes
draw
to
on
Talk about it.
I'm sorry I'm slapping my leg for you.
Yeah, dude.
second one goes to Blake Popst. I hope I said that correctly. You are the winner of a $50 PlayStation currency card.
Whoa!
Oh, that's good.
Whoa.
That's good.
Oh,
So,
Whoa. Where'd that come from?
know.
Congratulations, man.
and they're both coming to you this year. So,
Yeah.
Early summer, hopefully.
actually, no, we'll be getting in contact with both you guys to get you both the codes
fall
for those
this
two
year.
things. Yes, this year. So, I'm sorry, I had to get one in. but I don't know, guys. Final thoughts on the Sony conference? Anything to kind of wrap up what we're going to talk
I
about?
guess we
I
got to grade
got
it, right?
one.
We've graded every other one.
Oh yeah, we got to grade it. So that'll be our
Yeah,
final
yeah,
thought.
yeah.
So let's go around, Mike. Or let's start with you.
the funniest thing that this conference that I was watching was when Higgins came back out and he said, "Everybody breathe." Like half the place was dead. Another quarter was on the phone, and the other were just disinterested.
Maybe
You know,
they're breathing out of anger.
Sleeping.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. But just that one, I'm just like, what?
He wanted to make sure they're alive.
That was going to
Yeah.
be the second thing I was going to say, but I did figure I just wouldn't go there.
hmm
Oh boy, somewhere between a C- and a D. I'll go with C-.
All right. Let's go to Mike. My guess. What do you got?
Okay, so honestly, I've been going so back and forth in regards of how I would try to grade this, because in one hand, there were a lot of great reveals tonight. On the other hand, there were still the same godforsaken tropes about the Sony conferences that continue to piss me off, unfortunately. And now it's at the point, like I said before, that people are starting to realize this now, that I am not going insane. So honestly, with all that said, it kills me to say this, but I'm going to have to draw a game here. Solid B tier 2. That it could have still done. I would
You're
have.
very gracious.
A B?
No,
A
I
B?
am being
Wow.
gracious here. But I'm
Wow.
B, maybe even B minus, but the problem is that again, I hate to keep saying Monster Hunter every
It's your
10
opinion, man.
minutes.
It's your opinion.
No, I know it's my opinion, but I feel like that if I keep saying it, it's going to get annoying. But
No.
that reveal literally won it over for me. I had never been so excited over a game reveal
That's good.
with Monster Hunter, and that's the reason why that I could probably bump it up to a higher grade.
I can totally see that.
But with
Well,
that said, though, that like I said, that right after that got announced, it was literally announced that it was going multi-platform, and therefore it won it over for me for all the wrong reasons. And it's like, for every good thing that happened with Sony, a bad thing happened. And it's like, it's the opposite of Microsoft, and when you think about it, there were no indie titles shown off either tonight, so that's a big issue in some ways. So honestly, though, that's like I said. If anything else, I have to draw a game and just give them either the same grade or just drop them just under Microsoft because
Okay.
before the podcast, I was thinking to just give the edge to Sony because of Monster Hunter. But yeah, now thinking about it right now and going through the podcast, no, yeah, they definitely did just light a flame under me, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
Eugene.
Well, and
Okay, so go ahead, Graham. Go ahead, Graham.
I was gonna say they have the advantage too of being the later one,
They
so they do have an advantage. It kind of sticks in your head more like that.
Mhm.
But that's just how it goes. All right, Eugene,
Yeah.
you go.
So I'm going to start off with my grade right off the bat, and I'm going to give him a C minus. So I'm going to tell you why I'm giving him C minus. So I have a feeling about Sony is that they're a very prideful company, and I think that after Saturday's conferences and after Sunday, that they knew that they couldn't top any other developer. They definitely couldn't top Microsoft, and I think they knew to take a step back. I have a feeling that the conference was supposed to be much longer because there's one term that I did not hear the entire conference, 4K.
Yeah.
It's because they can't bring up 4K because they cannot top Microsoft. And I think they knew they were smart enough that we have to back off. We have to back off. And, we can't give solid release dates, so we'll give release windows. And that's the first main reason that I am giving them a, kind of a mid-range score, which it wasn't horrible. I still think EA did worse. But there was too many down points to the conference that I would get excited about God of War, and then I would get disappointed. And then I would get excited about Horizon, then I'd get disappointed. And then I would get excited about Skyrim VR, and then get disappointed once again by another game. And we keep saying that, now we have to wait till next E3, but you guys are forgetting there's two major Sony conferences before the end of the year. There's Tokyo Game Show in September.
That's true.
That they always make on Tokyo Game Show. Then they have their own personal conference. They have the PlayStation Experience, which is in December. So I think they're putting their big bets on those two conferences that they knew that they weren't able to talk about 4K. They weren't able to talk about more exclusives. They didn't even say the term that PlayStation is the system that gamers play on. They've always said that in the past, and they laid low. They laid low, and it was a smart move by them because if they came off the bat and said that Sony is for gamers and PlayStation is for gamers, this is console, that PlayStation Pro 4K, you can't say all those things because you've already lost. Yeah, you've already lost that aspect. So they bowed out. And they're going to bring us more at the PlayStation Experience. And there's even a possibility that they may talk about a console at the PlayStation Experience. But they knew to step back, and they had a lot of flops tonight, and I'm going to hit them for it because they didn't have any release dates, even on the games that we thought they would have release dates on, like God of War, like The Last of Us, like Detroit. But we didn't see it. We saw the same old rinse and repeat, like Mike Soul said earlier. But we didn't see any solid release dates. So C.
Okay, C plus now. I'm upgrading my thing to C plus.
All right.
Okay, because it's like,
Graham.
yeah, what the hell am I thinking?
Graham,
Maybe
go
I
ahead.
am
Okay.
too worried about the Sony people.
Now, I'm probably going to give them a worse grade than EA just because I didn't really have high expectations for EA. They pretty much lived to their standards. So I'm going to give them the D. Straight up, give them the D.
You're going to give them the D.
Just because I don't think they deserve any points or any kind of recognition for showing games that they showed at last E3. And then there's these games that we don't know when the hell is coming out. So I don't think they should get credit for that either. So basically, I'm going to give them the D just for rehashing the same stuff over and over and over. Just bringing like lackluster, and what they showed the PSVR was just bare minimal. Nothing really got me excited. Like the games that did get me excited is so far down the line that I'm gonna forget about them, and eventually then I'll get excited for them again. But yeah, I'm just gonna give them a D. And Eugene did bring up a good point that they just tried to lay low and not try to be a comparison to Microsoft because they would just straight up lost. So if they did bring that up and then maybe I would have even gave them a lower upgrade. So that's where I'm going to stick to. I know it's a little rough, and I'm usually
No,
optimistic
it's
and a nice
fair.
guy.
It's
No,
fair.
it's fair. But can I
No
step
more
in really
Mr.
fast?
Nice.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, literally right now, when I was just searching around on Facebook, I got a post from my friend that the gameplay trailer for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite just got posted, showing gameplay footage of some characters that got revealed this evening.
Mm-hmm.
Why the hell did we not get that either?
Like I
Because-
said, I
It's a
think
great
they
point.
had a lot more. They had a lot more at first, and then they
Yeah, I
kinda
mean, I
minimized their
like that we
conference.
got the story trailer, don't get me wrong, but think of it. If Microsoft was nice enough to have, like, Super Dragon Ball Fighters Z, I already forgot the name, but yeah, if they showed off gameplay footage of them fighting, don't you think that Sony could have benefited by having, gameplay footage of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite instead of the story mode? Or the story trailer?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great point.
I don't think they wanted to bring attention to themselves. Is what I think it comes
Yeah.
down to. I mean, they had the
Eugene, I
biggest.
kind of agree.
Well, no, Capcom is brilliant here in the sense of how the two biggest games I'm hyped for are literally the games that are not Sony exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, as I'm watching this is incredible to watch, and I would recommend that you guys watch it once we're done here, of course.
Mhm.
But yeah, definitely, though, this just kind of now infuriates me just slightly more now to actually see that they could have taken this route, but they didn't.
Their grade
They
is
had the
just going
biggest
down
show
further and
floor
further.
space. They had the most show floor space. So where was all that? I think
Yeah.
they really they condensed their conference down.
I agree with you, Eugene. And Graham, I think you hit it well when you said it. But I'm going to say this. So, what I saw of games tonight, I loved. I loved Days Gone. I loved Spider-Man. Loved God of War. Enjoyed, and the name's slipping me, I'm sorry, Mike, but the one that you really are super into.
Monster Hunter.
Detroit.
Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter
Oh,
and
wait,
Detroit.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I thought that you were
Oh,
talking
okay.
about the other
Both
player
of
to
them.
me.
Both
I'm
of
sorry.
them. Monster Hunter and Detroit. Monster Hunter is probably not my type of game, but it looks great.
Yeah, it's
And-
for a specific audience. So.
Yeah. And I can say, like, hey, a game might not be for me, but it looks fantastic for the people that are going to be into it. You know? The games we saw look great. The problem is, like, last year, I saw a bunch of games that looked awesome that I had no idea when I was going to be able to play. And this year, I saw a bunch of games that looked awesome, and I had no idea when I was really going to be able to play them. And the problem is, they were the same games.
Yeah.
Same games or otherwise shown off at the PlayStation Experience.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I think there's something to what you're saying, Eugene. I think they realized they can't win this year, so they're going to take a step back and look towards Tokyo Game Show and look towards their own PlayStation Experience or whatever, when they can control the conversation and they can, control the messaging more and have it be all the focus on them.
Microsoft's not going to have that much of a presence in Tokyo Game Show. That's
no,
not at all.
Microsoft never
They're
has
not,
one.
yeah.
Microsoft has a big presence at Gamescom, but not Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah, so might as well do it when you have a captive audience.
Exactly. So there might be
Right.
something to that. And we might see a lot more from Sony then. But I have to grade them on what they did today. So I'm going to give them a C. I loved what I saw, but unfortunately it was the same stuff, same games I saw last year, and I still don't really know when I'm going to play them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
I can't go higher than that. So unfortunately, it's a C. I still think it was better than EA, but unfortunately that's not a super high bar.
Well, it shouldn't
that's
be
kinda
even
wrong.
that close to begin with. That's what makes it even more disappointing.
Yeah, there should be no comparison between the Sony conference and the EA conference every year. So
No.
it's sad,
Yeah.
and like I said, I'm sad for our fans out there that I know are huge Sony fans, because I know that you guys look forward to this night so much every year, and to have it go this way kind of sucks. And
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was taking it back. I was telling Graham, like, when we were waiting to do the podcast, I'm like, I'm just taking it back right now. I'm waiting for them to come back on TV and be like, just kidding, here's the rest. You know?
Yeah, I guess we're just gonna have to,
But that didn't
watch
happen.
E3 closely for
Yeah.
all the stuff they didn't bother to mention. I guess that weren't
Absolutely.
as important. I guess.
So, and this isn't a death blow to Sony by any means. They're still a great
Far
company with a
from
great console, and they have great games on the way. It's just this was a down year. So, unfortunately, that's the case, and we'll move on, and it'll be fine. It'll be
They're allowed
okay,
to have
everybody.
it. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, they're allowed to have it down here too. I mean, Microsoft had a horrible E3 in 2013. So
it always happens. It's
Yeah.
a
And
rotating
you know what?
pendulum.
if this is Sony's
Bottoming out over there. Yeah.
yeah. So hey,
And
all right,
release the
let's get
hounds.
out of Dodge, everybody. So for Graham, Mike, and Eugene, I'm Tyler saying thank you so much for joining us for episode 56. We'll be back tomorrow with the Nintendo Show, episode 57. Until then, everybody, stay safe, have a great night, and enjoy the Nintendo conference tomorrow. We'll see you.
See ya.
Thank you, everyone.
See you guys.
Hi guys.
Peace.
Good night. Thank you.